Every single ad campaign that's failing right now, generating garbage leads, bleeding money, and producing no shows on your calendar has one or both of two problems. And once you understand what these two problems are, you can diagnose exactly where your funnel is broken. And that's what we're going to be going over today. Now, if you don't already know me, my name is Dylan Wart, founder of Margin Maxing. Margin Maxing is a B2B high-ticket advertising firm helping high-ticket services scale profitably with paid ads. Now, I already know what some of you guys are thinking. My niche is different. My market is too small. I've tried everything. Facebook ads just don't work like they used to. And I've heard all of this. And the reason that none of those ideas are actually your problem is because I've seen the exact same two-problem framework fix campaigns across dozens of industries, whether it's coaches, agencies, home service, SaaS, info products, or e-com. And the niche doesn't really matter. The diagnosis is always the same. So here's what we're covering. So problem number one is you can't get qualified prospects to book. And problem number two is the ones who do book don't show up ready to buy. And the thing is, most people have both of these problems. Some have one worse than the other, or vice versa. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one is strangling your results and exactly what to do about it. If you run any kind of high ticket offer, whether it's coaching, consultant, agency, done for you services, and you're using paid ads to drive calls, this is the most important video you're going to watch this year. So let's lock in. All right. So problem number one, and this is where most people's campaigns are actually dying way before the sales call even happens. So you can't get qualified prospects to book. Now that sounds pretty simple, but there's actually multiple layers underneath this and they're all connected. So I'm going to break down the three biggest causes so you can pinpoint exactly which one is hitting you. So the first cause is that your pixel is poisoned. So honestly, and nobody really talks about this, you're training Meta's algorithm to send you bad leads, not on purpose, but the damage is done and it's continuing unless you fix this. Here's how this happens. So first you launch the ads. The people start booking calls. Some are qualified, some aren't. But here's the thing, your pixel doesn't know the difference. So if all of those leads are going to the same place, your pixel's firing all of those leads back to Facebook, back to Meta, right? Every single person who books, whether they're your dream client with a 100K budget or some random person who just wanted to see what happens when they click schedule, your pixel fires the same event for both. So what's Meta learning here? It's learning that both of these people are your ideal customer, right? It's completely algorithmic. And what does it do? It goes out and finds more people who look exactly like the unqualified ones because it can't tell the difference. So that's the definition of garbage in, garbage out, right? Your pixel is literally being conditioned to attract the wrong people. So the solution to this is what we call the pixel conditioning fix. So pixel conditioning is making sure that only qualified leads are sending back to Meta. You restructure your application funnel so that the schedule event, right, the conversion event that Meta optimizes towards only fires for qualified leads. Unqualified leads will get directed to a different page that you don't fire the pixel to. So there's no pixel event, no data sent back to Meta. So a visual of this would be, let's say you have a landing page, right, with a VSL, hopefully. Let's hope you have one. And then there's a qualification form, right? Now, most of you have the pixel just here, or you have one confirmation page, right? And then the pixel might go to there. Now, the solution to this problem of getting unqualified leads being sent back to Meta, right, is you create two confirmation pages, right? So you can have one confirmation page for the qualified leads, right? And this depends on the qualifications that you have on this form. So let's say you had like a questionnaire about how much money they're willing to spend. And then you have an unqualified answer on there. So the people who answer the unqualified question, they should be sent here. So this is the unqualified page, right? So now you have two pages and we're going to put the pixel here, not here. Now you can do a lot of different things with this unqualified page. You can downsell. And what downselling does is it helps you liquidate your ad spend. So your main offer is the full price, right? And then you have if you're doing a done for you service, that would be this one. And then let's say you downsell the unqualified leads on a much smaller package of that, right? They still get something and you still get something from them. So even though they're unqualified, you can still capitalize on this. So anyway, the time that it takes for the pixel to recondition, like let's say you've had a pixel running and you weren't using these best practices, you should be waiting at least 7 to 14 days. And this could take 30 days as well. It really depends on the account. We can't really predict exactly how long it's going to take for each account. You just have to be patient with this process. But if you're patient and you wait, the algorithm will retrain to those new clean leads. And over time, you should see that your qualified rates on calls jump from like 30 to 40% or even lower to 80 to 90% because you're only getting clean data. And this is the same ad spend, the same offer. It's just different data and different results. So the second cause is possibly a wrong conversion mechanism. So this is a mismatch between your offer and your funnel type. So every offer has an educational requirement, right? The amount of education a prospect needs before they're ready to buy. And this varies on the offer. Like a low thousands offer, like a 3 to 4K product or service where the concept is pretty simple, right? Or straightforward, a basic call funnel would probably work. So like ads, landing page, VSL, and then you book a call. The prospect doesn't really need much education because the offer is straightforward and the price point isn't really terrifying, right? But a $10,000 to $25,000 offer that involves a complex transformation, a direct call funnel is going to be more of a struggle. So the prospect needs more context, more understanding of the methodology, more trust before they're ready to get on the phone. So that's where webinars, challenge funnels, or even long form VSLs come in. Like depending on the audiences that you're targeting, you can have a VSL that's up to 60 minutes or even longer. It just really depends on what you're selling and who you're selling to. The mistake is using a low educational funnel for a high education offer, or the reverse, overcomplicating a simple offer with a 90-minute webinar when all they needed was a 2 to 5 minute VSL on a booking page. So you want to make sure that your funnel is matched to your offer's education requirement, because if there's a mismatch, no amount of ad optimization is going to fix this. So the third cause of this problem is your messaging is possibly too generic. This is a really common issue nowadays because of the Meta Andromeda update, which we'll get into. So here's the type of messaging that I see all the time. Hey, coaches and consultants, want to scale to 50K months? We'll help you get more clients with Facebook ads. Book a call now. This is a structure that has worked in the past, but it just doesn't work anymore because of Meta's Andromeda update. The Andromeda update changed everything about how ads reach people. In the old days, you could get away with broad messaging because your targeting settings did most of the work, but those days are gone now. So your messaging is your targeting. The words you use in your ad literally determines who sees it. Meta's AI reads every word, every reference, every visual cue, and uses all of it to decide which pocket of users to show your ad to. So when you say, hey, coaches and consultants, or hey, people over 50, or hey, this wide group of people, you're not speaking to anyone specifically. You're casting this massive vague net and hoping that the right people swim in, otherwise known as spray and pray, right? But they don't, not anymore. Instead, you need to use what we call stalker hooks. Stalker hooks is messaging so specific that the right prospect feels like you're reading their mind. So compare these two hooks. One says, hey, want to improve your ad performance? We can help you get more leads. Who are we speaking to? What specific person with a specific situation are we trying to target? This is just completely broad. The alternative to this would be, hey, if you're stuck around a couple $1,000s a day in ad spend, and every time you try to push past that ceiling of a couple thousand, your ROAS tanks and your cost per call doubles. Let me show you exactly why that wall exists. So the difference between the two of these is one is a generic problem, and the other one is a very specific situation that your avatar or one of your avatars is in. And the way that we craft this is the one ad, one message rule. So each ad has to have one specific pain point, scenario, or reason to buy. So for example, for the same exact offer, which is coaching ad management, you can have coaches who are running ads themselves who are hitting a scaling wall, like the example we just went over. We have coaches with underperforming agencies that they're currently working with that are just not really performing that well. Coaches that were burned by agencies in the past who are now skeptical and are thinking that everyone's going to get them bad results. Coaches that are crushing it on organic but can't crack paid advertising. And then coaches at $500 a day wanting to reach to 3K a day. So these are all specific situations, right? With specific desires. It's all the same idea with the same offer, but each person has their own little vein of exactly what they're looking for or the exact situation that they're in. So the way to make sure that you're doing this correctly is that every single hook and body in every single ad should not be interchangeable. So you should not be able to take a hook from one ad and paste it on another ad, or a body from one ad and paste it on the body of another ad. So you shouldn't be able to mix and match. And this goes completely against the original model that people have been doing for years, which has been just writing a bunch of hooks and having the same body and call to action. That does not work anymore. Meta is actually going to punish you for having similar scripts. So what this looks like in your campaigns is you're going to be launching 25 to 30 completely unique ads per ad set. Now you're going to launch all 30 of these, but you should only expect 1 to 3 to receive meaningful spend, at least initially. And that's completely okay, because the other 22 to 27 are not failures just because you saw the other 20 that you spent all this time on creating only getting a few cents to $1 in ad spend, and only a few people got to see them. It doesn't mean that you have to chuck them out and then film 22 more. They're actually inventory for the next campaign. So when the winners fatigue, you create a new ad set and just copy everything, take the winners out, make 1 to 3 new ads, but the rest are the same 22 to 27 ads. And then you do it again, right? You do not want to take the 22 to 27 ads that didn't get any impressions and then create individual ad sets for each ad and force Meta to equally distribute them. I know you'd be tempted to do that, but that's just not what the data shows to work best nowadays. So again, about the messaging, every single word is a targeting signal. So make sure you're watching who's coming in, because a single word in one of your ads could be bringing in a whole different category of people, even if you just mention something. So the summary of getting unqualified leads is your pixel is either poisoned, your funnel type doesn't match your offer, or your messaging is just too generic. And usually this is a combination. So if you fix these 3 things, you'll start seeing qualified prospects actually showing up on your calendar. But that's what brings us to problem 2, because even when you fix the front end, even when the right people are booking calls, there's another problem waiting for you on the back end. So the second problem is prospects don't show up ready to buy, and you have a pretty low show rate. So here's the scenario. Your ads are working, qualified people are booking calls, but then 1 or 2 things happen. Either they don't show up at all, or they show up cold, skeptical, guarded, clinging to objections, and nowhere near ready to buy. And you're sitting there thinking that your ads must be broken, but they're not. Your ads did their job. They got the right person to raise their hand. But the problem is what happens between the booking and the call. So let's think about it from the prospect's perspective. So first, your prospect sees the ad, it resonates with them, and they book a call, so they're excited. They get a generic Calendly confirmation email. 3 days later, they don't get anything except a don't forget text reminder. They hear nothing from you guys, just the AI. They hear nothing from an actual person. And by the time their meeting comes up, they forget why they booked. They get hit by competitor ads, or they just do their own research or get influenced by other people rather than you. And therefore they either no show or they show up cold, guarded, and objection heavy. So there's 2 types of people, right? One type of person is going to do 0 research by themselves. They're going to book a call. They might consume the initial landing page, right? And that's why initially they might be excited. And that's what got them to book the call and take that first step, that action, right? But between the time of the booking and the time of the call, they're going to do absolutely no research, and they're going to completely forget why they booked the call. Most people are just extremely busy. They don't care unless something is right in front of them. And therefore, when they show up to the sales call, which should be just a smooth process of getting them to take the next step, right? If it makes sense for them, you go all the way back to the start where you're going to sell them on everything, or they don't even show up, right? Something else comes up, and anything else is more important than a call about something that they lost interest in, right? Now, the second type of person is going to do their own research, whether you give it to them or not. So you might as well give them your information, the right information, rather than have them go off and do some Reddit deep dives or Google searches that's going to leave them skeptical or lead down a path where they think that they can do something on their own and they don't even need your help. So I digress. Your ads did their job. The gap between booking and the call killed the deal. So the way that you fix this is with a back-end warming system, right? So there's 5 components that take show rates from 50% or even like 30% to 85% plus and transform call quality. The goal is simple. So by the time that the prospect gets on the call, they should feel like they already know you, they already trust you, and they already have resolved most of their common objections. Because let's be honest, like there's at least 4 or 5 objections that if you were to handle them initially before the call, you could save 10 to 20 minutes of saying the same exact thing to every single person who has the same common doubts or fears, right? So here's exactly how you fix this. So you create a confirmation page, And it's not just any confirmation page. It's not just a thank you page. This is a video vault. So you're going to have 3 to 5 at least short videos, each one addressing a specific objection or common question that your prospects have. Things like, what results can I expect? How is this different from what I've tried before? What if I went with someone else and it didn't work, et cetera, et cetera. You want to analyze your sales calls. You want to analyze exactly what your sales team or you yourself are experiencing the most in terms of objections. And you want to handle it right there when they book the call. You want to pre-handle as much as possible, because a sales call is not for selling someone on the idea. The sales call should be setting them up for the onboarding call, right? Some people even put AI chatbots on their confirmation pages so prospects can actually ask questions and get instant answers. This is not completely necessary, but it works because it keeps the prospect engaged and builds trust while the information is still fresh in their mind from your VSL and landing page, right? So the second component is value-dense email sequences. Please just chuck your generic reminder sequence in the garbage, because nobody cares about, hey, Fred, just a reminder your call is tomorrow. Like, people aren't even going to pay attention to that. If anything, that just feels like an annoying spam message that you would want to hit stop. Instead, you want to send actual value, case studies, specific frameworks, mini trainings, content that makes them think, if they're giving away all this information for free, the paid stuff must be incredible. Each email should accomplish one thing, whether it's making like more educated, more trusting, or more excited about the upcoming call. That's it. Every single email that doesn't do that is wasted time, effort, and space. So the third component is content remarketing. So this is a sneaky yet powerful tactic. If you create a custom audience of the people who've booked calls but haven't had them yet, you can run remarketing content to that specific audience. So you start showing up in their feed the entire time before the call with the same thing: case study videos, testimonial clips, behind the scenes content, additional training. Your goal is to dominate their feed between the booking and the call. Every time they open Facebook, Instagram, whatever, there you are, delivering value, showing proof, building trust. You want to become omnipresent, because the thing is about people is everyone has their own way of consuming things. So some people are going to open your emails. Some people aren't. Some people are going to be scrolling Instagram all the time. Some people don't even use Instagram. So you want to hit all verticals. You want to be absolutely omnipresent. You want them to show up to the phone feeling like they've already been consuming your content for weeks, even if it's only been 3 days. So the fourth component is manual touch points. So for high ticket offers, like anything over 5K, personal touches make a massive difference. Whether that's a quick voice note from you, the founder, a text that says, hey, saw you booked, excited to chat. Here's a quick video that'll help you get the most out of our call. And that specific video is something that they asked about. Like, create a conversation with people, ask them questions over text. If you don't have time to do this, you should definitely get a setter to do this for you, because this is so powerful. Like, even something as simple as adding them to a small group chat where you share inclusive insights. Just have a conversation with people, because you can handle even more objections, because people can ask questions, ask about their specific situation. You don't want to deal with this stuff when you're on a call. That's not the point of the sales call. Unless you want it to be, and you want to spend 2 to 3 times as much time on the call and have a lower close rate. But anyway, the most effective tactics is what's called the founder group chat. So you add booked prospects to an iMessage or WhatsApp group where you can casually share wins, strategies, and value. This can be between you, the founder, the prospect, and the setter. So the setter basically introduces you with the prospect by creating that 3-way group chat. This is where you can answer questions, show your proof, create trust, and handle objections. And the fifth component is the advisor frame. So this isn't a tactic, it's a philosophy shift. This ties in what I'm saying about answering questions and handling objections and just having conversations. Your setters and closers need to stop operating as qualifiers and start operating as advisors. So what does that mean? It means every touch point between booking and the call should position your team as people who genuinely want to help, not people who want to close a deal. So if you're in a group chat and a prospect says before the call, I'm not sure I can afford this, most setters would respond with, well, what would it mean for you if this worked? Mental jujitsu or some other form of like, okay, money aside, like, let's focus on, your desired outcome, right? That's a closing technique. It feels like one, and the prospect knows it. We're not in the 90s anymore. We're in 2026. People know how sales psychology works. So what an advisor says is, yeah, man, I totally understand. Let me just send you a case study of someone who was in the same situation as you. Take a look before our call and we can discuss whether this genuinely even makes sense for you. That builds trust. It gives the prospect agency. And ironically, it makes them more likely to buy, not less. So too lazy, didn't read. What does this mean for me? For the backend warming system that we're talking about, you can expect going from 50% or lower show rates to 85% plus. If you're getting cold, skeptical prospects on calls, you should expect your new prospects to arrive warm, educated, and pre-sold. So the sales process should be an absolute breeze. You do all the work up front, so the call is easy 20-minute close. That's what we're looking for. And finally, you go from low close rates to higher close rates and higher revenue per call. You're no longer having to split all these things up and sling deals and all that BS. And again, this is the same offer, the same ad spend, the same sales team. The only thing that changed was your sales process between the time that they book and the time that they get on the call. Like I said, you do the upfront work and then you get the fruits of your labor on the call. All right, so let's zoom out, because here's what most people get wrong. They treat all these things as separate problems. It's either I need better ads or I need better sales calls, but they're not separate. They're two halves of the same system. So the first problem is you can't get qualified prospects to book. That's your front end. Your pixel conditioning, your funnel type, your messaging. Fix this and the right people start raising their hands and booking the call. But problem two is these same people don't show up ready. That's your back end, your confirmation page, your email sequences, your remarketing, your manual touch points, and your team's philosophy. Fix this and the right people actually convert. Most campaigns fail because they only try to fix one thing without fixing the other. You can have the best back-end warming system in the world, but if your pixel is conditioned on bad data and your messaging is attracting tire kickers, it doesn't matter. And you can also have the most dialed-in front-end system on the platform. But if you're doing nothing between the booking and the call, those qualified prospects are going to ghost you. They're just going to go cold. That's just how people are. Everyone's attention span is so short, right? So how you self-diagnose this is if bookings are high but quality is low, that means your front end system is probably broken. So you want to look at your pixel conditioning. You want to see if you have this system where you're bringing qualified leads to one page and unqualified people to another page and only putting the pixel on the qualified people. You want to audit your funnel type. You want to rewrite your messaging if needed. Now, if quality is good, but the show rates are low and or the calls are cold, that means your backend might be broken. So you want to build the warming system that we talked about. Now, if both systems are broken, you want to start with the front end because there's really no point warming leads that were never qualified in the first place. You're just kind of wasting your time. So here's the equation. Qualified traffic plus trust building backend equals profitable campaigns. It's not more complicated than that. So I hope you liked this type of content. This presentation covered the what and the why. The full implementation, all of the in-depth stuff is covered in the complete system walkthrough, which should be attached to the end of this video that you can just go ahead and click on. We're talking 45 plus minutes where I break down the entire Facebook ad system for high ticket offers from start to finish. That's creative strategy, campaign structure, funnel architecture, all of it. It's the most comprehensive training I've ever put out for free, and it's right here. If you're serious about fixing your campaigns, watch that next. I'll see you there.